Good evening and welcome to the technical mess that is my computer today. How is everyone this evening?
I am trapped in here. Please send help. She's artifacting me. I didn't think it was possible to even do that to a person.
Well, the upside is that I believe Tomby's show is still running, which means we probably won't have very many people for the first few, which means that all of the technical issues that are trying desperately to overtake my entire system won't be noticeable by very many people.
Hello, Hanayama-san. Hello, Leg.
Yes, Legatus is incredibly patient with all the technical difficulties that everyone has, and yeah, I know the Chinwag is still alive. I did not plan very well when I set this up, because I totally forgot they were running later these days. Um, Hamiyata-san says, "Help is sent to Kilo." And he likes an excuse to, give me a hard time and pick on me anyway, so technical difficulties will just give him one more target. So we are here to talk about 10 Candles. This is an extremely interesting role-playing game in that it's incredibly different. Um, I haven't quite sorted out all of my feelings about it yet. So, hopefully some of that'll come around as we go.
Maybe.
Um, I Kilo, you are quite fond of it. Yes?
Yes, this is honestly, one of my favorite role playing games. I have played it many, many times. I have had the good fortune that many people I've run it for have then said, "Hey, I like this a lot. I want to run it for my friends," and they want to take up DMing just to run this.
Interesting. Um, so they are also somewhat sadistic.
I I don't think it's even that.
Um, yeah, Legatus, we will get to the tragic horror bit. That's one of the things I find interesting about it. Um, this does seem like more of a pit the GM against the players game than any game I've seen in like
You would be surprised
very
by
long time.
how little that comes through in practice.
Really, because I've spoken with people you've run for and they did not feel that way. um, not that they disliked it, um, but that it very much felt like I mean the whole premise. Well, I guess we're going to jump right into this, but the entire premise of the game is that players cannot win and will die.
Correct.
Um, so that very much feels like a world in which the world and therefore the GM is pitted against players. So I can kind of see where that impression would come from.
True, but the thing about this game is you know that ahead of time. The rules for when and how a player can die are obvious when you're doing initial setup. And with players going in with the knowledge that their character's eventually not going to make it, it puts less of a emphasis on trying to win and more emphasis on telling a story.
Well, and I think that's where I it doesn't actually feel like a role playing game to me. It feels like a theater improv exercise.
True. When I ran this for uh, John, I guess let's call him, uh, the last time we got together for a game, he mentioned that this would be an excellent way to do like an improv exercise for a theater group, and I do agree.
Yeah, in part because like you don't really get to pick your own character.
True. You do not build
Um,
your character from the ground up. The character creation is communal. The players do it together.
right, which is very much like, if you go to an improv, exercise, you kind of holler out to the audience different topics and, they tell you things. Um, and I
It's
wonder
more
too.
interactive than that, though, because the people who are giving you things are also getting things from you and are going to have to role play with you. So
Um,
when
which
you
they
write traits to give away, they're going to other people you're going to be on a team with.
But my understanding is the first time you play the game, you don't know that.
I
I
suppose that's technically true.
I mean, it's even written in the book as, "Oh, I wanted to build my character this way, but then I had to give away the traits, so now I have to
Yep.
do something else."
Yes.
Um, and the people I've spoken with who played it, um, I think didn't really seem to understand that they were going to be giving away the traits the first time. Um, so it seems like it would. I mean, granted, all role playing games, as you play them more and more, you kind of modify how you do it. But it does seem like this would play out very different your first time versus any other time. It's kind of like watching Usual Suspects for the first time versus every other time.
Well, yeah, your first time watching a movie is always going to be different from a rewatch.
Have you seen Usual Suspects?
Nope.
Ah, Usual Suspects is Sixth Sense. Have you seen Sixth Sense?
Hmm.
Okay, we'll go with that one then. Um, Watching that one the first time is extra different than watching it other times.
Or weapons for a topical example.
Yeah, there we go. Um, there are certain movies that I think it's more. The first watch through is more different than other movies. When you have those big twist ending movies.
Yep.
So, I do want to say that this is the first role playing game I have ever described to Hanayama-san that he has actually seemed interested in. So
I'm telling you.
apparently the sadism idea really appeals to him.
If you like Lovecraftian fiction, you will really enjoy this game.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because Lovecraftian worlds you're pretty doomed all the time anyway.
Yeah, and it's a heavy focus on mystery for a lot of his stories, and there's a big twist at the end. Not that there's necessarily a twist in Ten Candles, but there is a mystery to unravel through the course of the game.
Mhm. So since you have actually run it and I have just read it, do you want to kind of run us through how a game is set up?
Sure. So the setup for Ten Candles is done in several stages. Uh, at every stage or so, you light a couple candles around the circle of 10 until all 10 are lit and you actually start. They're little tea candles, so this adds a kind of strategic element where some will be burning longer than others. So when it comes time to extinguish one, you're trying to remember, oh, what was lit first? I should get rid of that one. Is it a place where I can reach it without accidentally putting out one? Because if
Oh,
a candle goes out, it can never get relit.
I was going to say even accidental, so if somebody sneezes and knocks 3 of them out, oh well.
Yep. I've
Yeah.
only ever had that happen once.
Oh, it has happened. I thought I was just.
Yes, I had a player who was going to burn one of his cards and accidentally pushed the wick of the candle into the wax and put it out.
Oh, I thought you meant somebody had sneezed and put out 3
No,
candles.
someone accidentally darkened a candle.
um so the setting is that the world has gone dark. It has been overtaken by some unknown alien and or monster entity
The
that
the entity that the players are competing against primarily is known as them, capital T them in the game parlance. What this is will change every single game because the players have some input. But the consistent things is that they hide in the dark, they abhor the light, and they are hostile to human life.
interesting. I don't think I had even considered the hostile part. It seemed like they just I mean, like I don't consider myself hostile towards, deer that get hunted. They're just, you know, I just want food. But again, I suppose if you're
I mean,
doing things a little
kill
bit
and eat
different every
something. I think
time.
it's valid to say you're hostile toward that thing.
Huh?
If you're going to kill and eat something, I think it's valid to say you're hostile against that thing.
I suppose. I guess I look at it as I don't know. I don't. look at it as hostile in the same. I don't know. I guess I think of hostile as having an emotional, uh, I don't know, I hate you kind of kind of idea behind it. Like there's some negative emotion of you towards whatever that thing is.
Yep. But how the players and them are characterized is you start off by writing a virtue and a vice on two index cards. You then pass one to your left, one to your right, not
Hmm.
counting the DM. So players get a positive and negative character trait somewhat at random. They then create their moment or their hope, which is a event they're trying to have happen during gameplay, which if they can pull off will give some benefit to them. And then they have a brink, which is a character's deep dark secret, which is what they can rely on with a high risk, high reward mechanic when it's the only thing you have left. You keep your hope slash moment. You pass your brink to your left, which has an interesting consequence for the player to the DM's right, because the player to the right writes the brink for them, the creatures, which cannot establish a weakness. It can only establish a power or identity. But it
Hmm.
means that this is not really a game where you go in prepping a whole lot because you're going to get dealt something you can't expect right off the bat for the monsters.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think the identity one seems more interesting considering that it seems like they're basically immortal otherwise.
I don't think that's necessarily implied. Like in the book,
Really?
it gives example of hopes or moments where your goal is to kill one of them. They might be invulnerable. I've had games where they are and are not. I've
Okay,
had
so
a
they
I had
sorry,
a
go ahead.
game where the players blew up a gas station with a bunch of them in it, which definitely killed them.
Okay. I guess just from reading, it may be the examples that they gave um made it seem like they're basically invulnerable.
So either they or something is going to kill the players eventually. They are unbeatable as a collective, not as individuals.
Ah, okay. So that yeah, all right. That may be my
Like
my
zombies.
confusion. Um
Although
Hello, Racer.
sometimes you have them that are not killable, like they're arcane beings from another dimension, or they're swarms of insects where killing one doesn't really do anything.
Um so I just get a message that apparently it took like 10 minutes for YouTube to even register that we had gone live. So,
Well, they did put out a new UI update today, apparently.
uh, it seems like every streaming platform has been just bogged down with constant trouble lately.
Also, hey, Eraser.
um,
Also, there is a step in the rulebook which many people seem to like, and I really don't. I think it slows the game down too much. But there's a setting after you make your characters and have each of those four components where you record a like last phone call your character made on some kind of voice recorder, usually a phone.
yes, I kind of wondered what the point of that was, other than
So, from the people who like it, it gives you a when you play it back at the very end, it gives you time to decompress after the very end of the action, where you kind of sit in the pitch dark and just listen to people for a bit. And instead of going right from the tragic end to let's turn the lights on and finish the game, you kind of sit with it for a while.
I mean, that feels like it would feel more tragic.
Yeah,
It
that is
it
the intention.
it it feels like this sadism does not have any aftercare involved.
I don't think
uh,
tragedy and sadism are the same thing.
um, they're not, but it does seem it seems like one of two things would happen. Either this would become kind of you'd get groups that would make a joke out of it.
Oh, I have that all the time.
Um and then you would have people who like it would who would take it seriously, who would be very theatrical about it and it would get very deep. Um and those people it seems like just sort of ending off with, and then everyone dies horribly. Um Everyone have a great day. See you next weekend. Have you ever run this, like, regularly? Like, have you
No,
ever run
this
it
is a
as more than
game
just a
kind of designed for one shots because everybody dies at the end.
Um, I guess I phrased the question badly. I understand that it doesn't a single session doesn't or a single group doesn't run for more than a session, and from what I understand, occasionally 2 sessions in one afternoon if people die especially quickly.
That was the worst dice rolling I've ever seen in my life. So, side note with this game, it has a dice system where you roll until you fail and then you darken a candle. We'll get into more of that in a second here, but that means if you fail every single roll 7 times in a row, the game goes way faster than it would otherwise.
Well, yeah, uh, and you have to admit that particular group is stunningly good at making terrible dice rolls over and over. It's like there's a pattern. Either everyone rolls really well or everyone rolls really terrible.
I did the math on it. It was like roughly a 0.2% chance of them rolling that badly,
Wow. That's kind of impressive
right?
almost.
Like
I
they
mean,
threw something like 36 dice and did not roll a single six. Probably more because they re-rolled a couple.
yeah, okay. That's like the universe sabotaging you right there.
Pretty much.
Um, but
But it
like have you ever
finish
run it
your finish your group question, sorry.
yeah, have you ever run it for like the same group, like several weeks in a row or is it just a somebody's not here?
I've run it for the same group multiple times before. My friend who I bring to your games, who was
Mhm.
absent this past week, I've run it for him like 3 or 4 times. I've run it for a number of people 2 or 3 times, but they've never been back to back.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the general consensus I got from people who have played it was, well, okay, there are a couple of people who really didn't like it.
Fair.
Um, and then there were the ones who basically said it was interesting, it was different, but it was also really depressing, and man, I wouldn't want to do that every week.
Yeah, this is like my go-to Halloween special game or the Christmas special, which was a very funny game.
I was just gonna say, it seems like doing this as a Christmas game would automatically guarantee uh, just a humorous joke version.
I was intending to be serious about it, but one of the players gave me the them defining card and said they're helping Santa prepare for Christmas.
Hmm. What had you intended the scenario to be?
I don't prep anything because I don't know what I'm going to get.
Oh, I thought the scenario at
Oh, the
least.
scenario was they were on a moon base.
Oh. See, maybe I just lacked the creativity for this game. The way the book was written, I wasn't aware space travel was a possibility.
Yep, it can. The scenario can be basically anything. The generic one is kind of like the whole Stranger Things. You are people in a small town.
Mhm.
But there's more urban ones. There's one where you play as dogs. There's one where you play as ancient Greeks trying to reignite the sky chariot.
Huh.
I've run a couple on cruise ships and airplanes, which were really fun.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the moon idea would definitely make it much easier for all the lights to go out. Um, Eraser says Kilo hasn't seen my rolls. Eraser,
True.
never have you rolled 36 dice and not rolled a 6. I mean, you've had some bad days, but not like that. Um, so what types of things do people tend to describe the them as, or the they, or whatever the...
So to go through a brief recap of all of mine that I can remember, we've had essentially the Cenobites from Hellraiser. We've had
Hmm.
Santa Claus and his helpers. We have had swarms of like fireflies, but they're actually piranhas that devour human flesh. We've had the Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics, but there's a lot of them.
I love the Cenobites idea.
Yeah, that was a very fun game. That was the first one I ran, actually. There was a lot of like flesh crafting and body horror.
Hmm.
I'm we had another one which was like a swarm of spiders, which is very similar to the previous one, but I just happened to get similar prompts for that one. And that was the really fast game, so they barely even showed up. Some
Have people managed to die without the monsters ever showing up at all?
I don't think so necessarily, but something you can definitely do as a DM is introduce other factions of humans to increase the drama. Where even if the players are worried about them and have plans in place, futile though they ultimately will be, you can have other scared, frightened, armed people to put the players in conflict with.
Hmm. I was thinking more. You said something about a group blowing up a gas station. I was like, what if they blew up the gas station accidentally with themselves in it? That would seem like something a really terrible roll would manage.
Potentially. Oh right. In the really quick game, one of the players who found a rocket launcher uh, rolled that, missed, and blew up uh, himself, and also brutally maimed everyone else around him.
Hmm. Yeah, so you don't even need the monsters when you get friends like that.
Yep.
Welcome as your GM. Warhammer 40K got its name because that's how many dice you roll. You don't roll more than what, 11 dice max? And even that's hypothetical. Usually it's like 10.
You will almost never roll 11. 10 is usually the maximum.
I was trying to think because there's the hope die.
Yes. But you're probably not going to get that during the first scene.
First scene, yeah. Uh, so tell us about the hope die.
So I mentioned earlier that hope slash moment you're trying to achieve during a game. When the scenario happens where you could potentially do that, like if your goal is to bake a cake and you find yourself in a kitchen with flour, butter, sugar, and eggs, you will say to the DM you're going to try to live your moment. You will roll the dice, which however many you have at that moment, you roll that many. If you succeed, you get to live your moment, you get to narrate the scene, and you then gain a hope dice for theoretically the rest of the game. A hope dice is unique because we have to explain the way the main dice rules work now, which is the players have a pool of dice equal to the number of lit candles, so they start with 10. Whenever they have to make a roll, they roll that many dice. Any of them that come up on 6 count as a success. Any that come up 1 are lost for the rest of the scene but come back later. A hope dice is special because only you can use it. It succeeds on a 5 or a 6, and you don't lose it on a 1.
And you said it hypothetically you have it for the rest of the game, but it can be lost to
So when you have
the
your brink, which is you've used every other card you have by burning them, which is one of my favorite parts of the game, when you use one of the cards for a reroll in the case of your traits or for your moment, if you're doing that, you physically set it on fire when you expend it, which is a very fun mechanic. It's very mood setting. But when you have your brink left and only your brink, the brink is unique in that you can theoretically use it as many times as you want, but it forces you to re-roll everything, including your successes, And if on that reroll you don't get a success, not only do you fail, you also burn your brink and you lose your hope dice.
I think I had missed the fact that you had to re-roll everything.
Yes. For
Huh.
their traits, you're only rerolling ones. For the brink, you reroll everything.
So the examples in the book tend to basically have like your traits at the top and then your moment and then but it almost seems like you'd be better off to have your moment towards the top because then you've got more dice to roll.
Depends on what your moment is. If your moment is killing one of them and they don't show up for the first two scenes, you're kind of out of luck.
Oh yeah, because you can't use any of your other cards until they gets played.
Yep. Depends on how likely you are. You think you'll succeed on your moment early.
And so the scenes are when a candle is put out, correct?
Correct.
So when a candle is put out, everyone goes around and they speak a truth, which
Yes.
alters the narration of whatever's going on.
Yep.
One of the things I didn't understand reading through the material is it said if a candle goes out while someone is speaking their truth. I didn't really understand if that meant all of the truths were undone or everything from that point on was undone or
I
how
don't know.
exactly.
I've never had that happen.
Well then. Yeah, there's something about if a candle goes out during the I probably can't find it quickly, but yeah, there's something about if the candle goes out while people are speaking their truths.
Having a candle go out to something other than intentionally darkening a candle is pretty rare. I've had like two die of natural causes and the one accidental put out, and that's been it.
Hmm.
So it can happen, but it's not that much of a concern.
And you use tea candles. Do you have any idea how long the average tea candle? Well, you've run this game a bunch. You should know how long the average tea candle.
Like 3-ish hours.
Really? Somehow I always thought of tea candles as being like an hour or something.
It depends slightly on the tea candles. Some have more wax than others.
Don't buy the really cheap ones for this game.
Or do.
While you're establishing truths, more candles might darken on their own. If a candle goes out while you're in the midst of establishing truths, the truth it might have held is lost and may no longer be spoken. If
So
for
that's
whatever
just the one you were speaking at the time, not all of them collectively.
if for whatever reason it would have been the final truth, the communal truth is still spoken by all of the players.
The
Do
communal
you
truth being you are alive.
Yeah. Um but my understanding is that anytime a candle goes out, you have to have the whole speaking truth thing. Do you skip one if it goes out in the middle or do you go around again?
Hmm.
It's a very unclear about that.
Yeah, that's a kind of an edge case that I've not run into. You might have to make a GM call. The way I would probably do it is I think darkening a candle ends a scene specifically, not triggers the whole thing. And since the scene is not happening,
Hmm.
you lose whatever truth you were saying, then do the communal one, and you start the next scene.
So when you're speaking truths, the game master starts and says, the truth is the world is dark.
Hmm.
And then everyone goes around one at a time, including the game master, for as many candles as are left, right?
Yes.
So the game master can use their truth to try and tweak whatever it is that other people were trying to accomplish.
Or introduce an entirely new threat.
Hmm. Okay. Probably in a way that would also undo everything that they were
Maybe.
doing.
Like if
uh,
the players are trying to fortify like a I don't know, like a ranger station or something, you can have one of your truths be like the ranger station has someone else in it.
mhm. Well, the example they give in the book, so they end a scene trapped at a gas station with a broken down vehicle and no possible way of fixing it. But then one of the truths is we arrive at the police station safely. So
Yeah,
basically, it that the truth just allows them to skip every possible bad thing that might happen,
pretty much.
you know,
Yeah, it lets you
between point A and
totally
point B.
reinvent the situation.
Does that mean if things were getting really terrible, you could just intentionally put out a candle?
Define you.
Uh, the players. If the players are in a really like unspeakable situation, they could just put a candle out and be like, "My truth is, we got away."
I mean, technically, but also
Fate.
you cannot kill the players until the final round. And also, again, you have this expectation that it's not gonna be a you win kind of game.
Mhm.
So when I have run this, players have been more than on board. Like, we're in a bad situation. We want to see what happens, like what the story does to us.
Interesting. It's interesting that even the book sort of uses a get out of jail free card in that department, but that your players, in order to make it work, kind of have to be on board with not doing that. So you can't kill the
I mean, you
players
can.
until the final scene.
Correct. I can't cause a player to die as the result of a failed roll unless they want to before the final scene.
I was gonna say, so like players can't sacrifice themselves for the good of the group in scene
They
4
can
or
actually.
something.
So the mechanic for that is if a player wants to die before the final round, they get narration power, so they can narrate what happens as long as it results in their death, where the DM otherwise would be able to say what happens. And the player that dies can give their hope dice to somebody else.
Okay. I was thinking maybe it was something like, aliens where, you sacrifice yourself, but then it turns out later on you've actually been tucked into a cocoon and, eggs have been laid in your chest. Just kidding. Not really
Yep.
dead. You didn't see the body.
Yeah, the only restriction on truths is that they, one, can't kill players, and two, have to be like within the bounds of possibility. Like if you're running a game about miners in the 1940s being down in the mines, if a player says with the truth, like we're on Venus in a space station,
M
you're
I
within your
N
rights to
E
go like,
E R
whoa, whoa,
S.
whoa, what the heck are you talking about?
Miners. When you first said if you're running a game about miners, I was like MINOR. I was like, what?
Oh no,
That seems dark, even for me.
I mean you can have a game about dogs, and you still have to kill all of them at the end.
So I guess that brings me to my major question. Like, what's the attraction of a game? So I love old school games where like the chance of advancement and death are well, the chance of advancement is not great and the chance of death is high.
Yeah,
Because my belief is that it makes it all the more rewarding when you do make it. Something like a Souls like game, yeah, you're going to die a bunch, but that makes it more rewarding when you finally make it. What is the appeal? Carnival reference. Scudder got angry, yeeted
yep.
everyone in the mind, everyone's dead, mission over. What is the appeal for people in a game that cannot be won?
What's the appeal of any kind of what's the appeal like a Lovecraft story, for example, or what's the appeal of
It's not
like
me.
well, yeah, this isn't you either, but you're role playing.
Well, but that's the difference. When I'm reading a Lovecraft book, it's not like first person.
Okay,
Um, it's and honestly, there's only so much Lovecraft I can read because it gets too depressing. Um, like there are games like Don't Starve
yeah,
where you are going to die, video game wise. But the goal is to like try and make it like more days than you did last time. Um, but because there are 10 candles and they can only last for so long, there really isn't even a point where you can improve after a certain point. Um, hey, Molly.
Hello, Molly.
Um, so I'm just curious, like, what I mean, I'm sure the answer is different for everyone, but what is the appeal for you in a game that can't be won?
I think the inevitability of death lends a lot of like rich storytelling potential in a piece of media. For example, I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077 lately, and the plot of that is you have a piece of technology in your head that's killing you, and there's not really a way around that. So the very end of the game is like deciding what you want your legacy to be. Will you throw away the things you care about to hold on to a like feudal chance to stay alive? Will you go out in a blaze of glory, etc., etc.? There's other games like Soma and oh, I can't mention that one. That's a spoiler. But
You can't
Soma's
you
another
can't
example.
you can't mention Soma, or you can't mention a
I can't mention the other game. I can mention Soma.
now I wanna know what the other game is. I mean, Soma's definitely fine because, like, that game is old enough that if you haven't played it, you're probably not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Hanayama, I get, if you know you're gonna die, you wanna see how far you can go, but the candles makes it so that there is a point where you can't like, factors beyond your control, or even luck for that matter, um, are eventually gonna finish you off, and so you
Well, it's
can't
not
go
about
in.
seeing how far you can go mechanically. It's about seeing how far you can go in terms of role playing.
Yeah, but I mean, the nature of role playing is that you kind of have one kind of feeds into the other.
I don't think that's the case.
You don't?
No, not really.
I mean, the mechanics of the candles is part of what drives the story, and the story is part of what drives how fast the candles go out. Correct? Is that
So
am I
I'm not
misunderstanding
sure
the
what the point you're making is exactly.
just that the mechanics and the story are sort of entwined with one another.
Yeah, you will basically steadily get quote unquote weaker as a group over time. Yes. I don't think that has any opposition to the see how far I can go kind of narrative. It feeds into it, if anything.
But what I'm saying is that there is an external block on how far you can go.
Oh, yeah. That,
Like if you're playing Don't Starve, theoretically if you had the time and the patience and the luck, you could hit day, you know, 1027 and then the next time you could hit 1028.
oh, sure,
Um
fair enough. And like theoretically, for example, if you do really well in D&D, you can just keep going up and up forever and just keep playing. In chat, show of hands, how many of you have finished a D&D campaign and the story came to its end point?
actually I have.
I mean, I have too, but it is an uncommon experience.
And
And I think
actually
that
I
idea
don't
of you could infinitely like progress and keep getting stronger isn't narratively satisfying a lot of the time. It's nice to have an ending.
um well, but that's what I was going to say is that D&D I mean I'm not terribly familiar with the last couple of editions, but originally D&D and AD&D you could not go past a certain level. You just became an NPC at that point.
Oh yeah, like if you go from level 1 to 20, there are very very few people who have taken an AD&D character from level 1 to level 20.
That's true, but what I'm saying is that I mean nobody plays Don't Starve until, day 2000. Like
Yeah.
they get sick of it. But you can theoretically do it. Whereas in this game, you cannot theoretically last past whatever point the candles go out, which, assume it's 3 hours.
So does that make Don't Starve better than a game like Soma where you will definitely run out of content?
I have not finished Soma, so I mean,
Oh my gosh.
I know the storyline. Yeah, it started crashing my computer all the time, so I never got to finish it. Um, it I don't know. There comes a point where either it hates my computer or my computer hates it. I'm not sure which.
Hanayama-san, you can actually go pretty far. It was either my Hellraiser game or my Christmas game, which went for around 4.5 hours because the players were rolling pretty well. I'm pretty sure it was the Christmas one.
Well, but if the candles only last 3 hours, he says you want to see if you can last 3, 4, or 5 hours. You can't last 3 hours because the candles go
I'm
out.
estimating. I have not actually taken a tea candle and lit it and watched exactly how long it takes to go out. And
No,
I
no, no.
also,
I understand it's an estimate. What I'm trying to tell him is that if you assume it's 3 hours, uh, you can't get past that 3 hour mark.
so this assumes that the candles are all this exact same thickness. You light them at the same time, which you don't, and that there's no like air currents going around, which there are because you're constantly blowing out candles. So the burning time, in my practical experience, tends to vary quite a bit.
Hmm.
Eraser, I have what? Sorry. Oh, I've timed a candle. I'm not quite that artistic. Okay.
Just light the candle, put a camera on it, and then then just speed run it, see how long it goes. Um, but no, I'm not disagreeing that there are times that will vary or that it can go longer. I'm simply saying that there is an external he didn't seem to get that there's an external factor that will stop him from going past a certain number of hours.
Okay. If it makes anybody feel better, I have literally never had a game go long enough where all of the candles go out of natural causes.
So, extra brutal. Um,
I actually have played a couple times on a Hanayama-san's point where the final candle is a larger, more ornate centerpiece,
mhm.
like a black cat shaped candle for the Halloween game.
Oh, that's a neat idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely I can see areas where you could definitely homebrew it to even, increase that
yeah.
storytelling
Like
aspect.
these guys don't sell specific candles, so there's always some chaos factor in what you're buying to use for this.
Yeah.
The ones we used at the last game were faster burning than usual.
I mean, it sounds like it didn't matter with all the not lack of sixes that were getting
Correct.
rolled.
Case in point.
What is your favorite game you've ever run?
So I think it might be the Christmas game because it was the one time I broke the rules and had a player survive.
Really?
Yeah, because when I got the thing that the them were Santa's helpers, I got to do like a fun like overall progression of like twisting vines of holly or like giant sleigh bells crashing through a roof like a boulder in Indiana Jones. But I
Mhm.
was also keeping track of the other players' behavior, and most people were pretty cutthroat because this was like a Jurassic Park version of a space station where they were like hyper capitalistic tourists who were rich and out for themselves. But there was one player who was generally pretty nice to people. So at the very end, he happened to go last, and all of the other players got caught by Santa, put on the naughty list, and turned into piles of coal. But that one player alone got to be on the nice list and leave on Santa's sleigh.
Once again, it's good to be the GM. I was really surprised. I somehow had not realized that this was published by Cavalry Games. I they do a lot of interesting stuff, so but it did not seem like their usual thing. So the other thing oh yeah, yeah, this was a joke I was thinking of earlier. 10 candles where the LARPing is burning your house down.
True. That is part of the fun. If
Burning
you're
your
not
house
willing
down?
to set stuff on fire, then, well, you're supposed to die at the end.
I think that's one of the reasons tea candles work really well is because, we all have cats.
Yep, true.
I love the fact that the last two things they say is fire bad. Hey Ben, welcome. So I know this was not wow, there's a lot of empty space here. Um, I
The
know this
actual
was
physical book for this is very small, so it
it
works
is.
better on the physical book.
It's
It's like a paperback in terms of width,
60 pages or 68 pages or something like that.
something like that.
I think I just hadn't realized that, it was this many pages in before you even get to the meat of the book. So I know this was not an issue for you because you got it quite a lot less expensive. But my first introduction to this book, I almost picked up a copy until I realized it was $28 for this little tiny slender book. Um,
I
yeah,
think it was definitely cheaper 5 years ago.
yeah. I was wondering if that was because it had become really popular, or because like, is your copy PDF or is it
Mine is physical.
you do have a
Well,
physical? Okay.
I have both, but the one I
Hmm.
use most often is physical.
Yeah, it seems like it might be a tough game to run. I mean, if the whole point is you're not supposed to have any lights on while you're playing, having the
Yeah,
laptop
I wouldn't
flipped
want to
open
run
would
it
be.
on a screen, but also it is rules light enough you will rarely have to reference the book while playing.
Hmm. Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Was I looked at the game and I looked at the first 3 pages and I was like, I don't really feel like I have to buy the game now because there's most of the rest of this is examples and pictures.
Yeah,
Hey
like just from
Beepers.
us talking about the game on stream, you in chat probably know 90% of what you need to know to run a game yourselves.
Yeah, I might
Also, hey,
need
peepers.
refreshers on exactly what the dice rules are because I was still a little rough on when the game master takes dice and when they don't. Um, hey Jacob, you kind of snuck in. I almost didn't notice you there.
Hey, Jacob. Hey, Ben.
Um, but yeah, it is so rules light. Maybe that's why they have to charge $28 because one person's going to buy it and read it twice and then just hand it off to someone else.
Maybe. I have loaned out my copy multiple times before, not
Hmm.
only to you, but also I'm pretty sure that inflation has hit it reasonably hard. I think it used to be 20.
Still, $28 for I mean, even 400-page paperbacks don't cost that much these days, I don't think. I think they're usually like 25, maybe 30. Do you have any idea how much the PDF is these
It
days?
is
I
10
didn't even.
bucks.
Oh yeah, so
The
that's quite
PDF is way
reasonable.
more reasonable.
That's quite reasonable. And honestly, if you printed it out in booklet form, there's so few rules. You could almost just buy the PDF and print it in booklet form.
Yeah, I don't know for sure if it's printed on demand or not, but it would
I'm
definitely
sorry.
work well as just using the PDF for that purpose.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. It's definitely. I mean, have you had similar experiences with all your groups that like most people said, this is fun, but I wouldn't want to play it all the time, and some people were like, yeah, never again.
I've never had anyone say no, never again. I've never had anyone dislike it.
Really?
Correct. I think the idea of "Well, I don't want to play this all the time" is kind of implied because I usually run this explicitly as a one shot
Mm-hmm.
when we don't have the materials to run our normal game for a week.
Mm-hmm. Or there's a special occasion.
Yes,
Are you doing a Halloween game this year?
probably.
Chat, how many people want to see him do his Halloween game live?
You will be looking at a poorly rendered webcam of a dark room the whole time.
Especially when the candles start to go out.
Yep.
You'd need a camera that had like night vision on it. Like the whole thing would be like night vision goggles.
But that would just make the candles really bright in the night vision and screw up the picture either way.
Do they have like really high grade ones, it will fade out, from one to the other as the candles go out.
Not on my budget, they don't. Donate to the Eclectic Goat Patreon, or
Yeah, I don't have one. I'm not monetized in any way, shape, or form. Though
like
I,
and
I have been
subscribe.
I have been getting coaxed to do so, and I was like, well, if I were capable of getting monetized, I probably would at this point, because a little extra change wouldn't be a bad idea these days. Well, yeah, uh, this was one of the reasons that we were late getting going, is that my keyboard sounds lynchy and I'm down. Um, my keyboard decided to like totally lock up, and I couldn't use like half the keys. I have needed a new keyboard for a while, and apparently we have hit the the critical point at this point. So, um, all right. Any other final thoughts, comments? If you had to rate this game, what would you rate it?
Oh, that's hard.
Even I'm gonna
I'd
make it.
probably give it a 9
I'm
out of
gonna make
10.
it. I'm gonna make it harder. If you
Okay.
had to rate it as a GM and then as a player.
There's not that much difference. The experience is pretty engaging on both sides of the table. I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. There are things I tend to tweak personally that I don't love, but I think the core experience is really valuable. It's an amazing game for people who want something like less crunchy if they're normally in a crunchier game, or people who are totally new to RPGs in general tend to really like it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to DM, which feeds into your prior question, where it's not like D&D where you have to get a freaking PhD from Wizards of the Coast to DM it. You can just DM it if you feel like it and get into that part of the gaming space that way. It's really cool.
That's true. I could see where it would be a really great way to well, I don't know if I'd want to introduce people into playing, because here, this is your first time playing, you're absolutely gonna die. I
Again,
don't know.
when you're upfront with that expectation, people tend to be cool with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I find that concept to be fascinating. But then, I was the kid that, when I was learning to play chess, as soon as I got to the point where I knew I was going to lose, I just clean the board and start over again.
It's when you have a character die suddenly without warning, like the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. It tends to be like shocking and upsetting, and uh like it really throws people off. But when you have something that's been like set up by the narrative and has a lot of grandiose uh atmosphere about it, where like it's happening and you can prepare for it and make it narratively satisfying, that's like more agreeable to people.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm trying to think of a good example, but I've got Game of Thrones on the brain and it's not helping.
Yeah. I it's interesting because I think the Game of Thrones book was more graphic than the TV show, and yet I have seen reactions to the TV show, and people were so much more upset than I ever was reading the book.
The book is more graphic, but it's also more sexual, and I think that's a lot of the.
Hmm.
It's also with Martin's prose. It's not like, despite the graphic things happening, they don't feel especially gross because he's a little more matter of fact than some writers.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't know, maybe that's what gets to me about this, is that,
Oh yeah,
again,
Joffrey's actually a good example.
um
Or like the other example is, I think it's All Star Superman, where the entire premise of the comic is Superman is slowly dying and like making peace with the people around him.
I haven't read that, so
I've read
pardon
like
me.
two Superman comics. That's one of them. It's pretty good, but it's still really weird.
Um
Bless you.
sorry, it was very weird. It was sort of like I swallowed wrong, except I didn't swallow anything.
Hmm.
It was like all of a sudden my throat just decided, like, "Hey, We're gonna like start hacking up stuff that isn't there. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's one of those. Maybe it's like chess. Maybe it's one of those things I have to actually see in action.
That would help.
Um, because like I said, I have seen too many players that would make a joke out of it, which seems to kind of defeat the horror aspect.
I don't think so necessarily. You can have kind of a good mix. You can have stuff like Evil Dead and Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Like a lot of my games have had a very similar tone to
Mm-hmm.
like Terminator, where it's not deadly serious all the time. There's some like comedic moments in it.
There's the scene where she has sex with the guy who's been wearing hobo pants for 3 days.
Maybe that's funny to you. I don't know.
There are little things in that movie that when you think about them too hard go, ugh.
Are the little things in the hobo pants?
I mean probably that too. Um but yeah, it's in theory I don't understand the idea of playing a game you know you can't win, but well no, I'm saying this backwards. On paper, I don't understand the concept, but in theory I think I can get it if you had the right group of people.
I think it's more robust for like different groups of people than you might think. But also, it's a very tactile game. I don't think even playing this game digitally would give you the same quality of experience as playing it in
That was
person because of
that
the darkness and the tactility of the candles and burning your cards.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my kind of my final wrap-up question was there's a PDF version of this game and yet it seems like it is one of those role-playing games where you would have to play it in person.
Correct. It definitely is a play in person unless you are held at gunpoint to do otherwise. If you're playing something virtually, play Fiasco instead.
Well, now I'm going to have to look that one up.
It is similar in many ways. It involves d6s and index cards and improv, and is designed for one shots.
Eraser Life's not about winning, but it is about surviving.
I have bad news for you, Goat.
But the goal is to do a little bit better than you did last time.
Join us next time on the Endless Wheel of Reincarnation, where we try to do a little bit better next time.
I end up as like a hedgehog next time or something.
Way past cool.
My goal for my next life is to become a boxer.
Like the dog?
Yes.
Okay.
Come on, big jolly dog with, happy personality. Be great. All right. Well, thank you very much for the joining and the explanation and the loan of the book. It's a very I like the fact that it's a very easy read. I have been plowing through some not easy read role playing games recently. It was very much a relief from that. So, um, it's kind of interesting just to pick up and read even if you don't happen to role play. Um, and it's a quick. What did I say it was? I think the
It's
PDF
like
is
70
actually.
page.
Yeah, I was gonna
Something
say I
like
think the
that.
PDF is actually longer than the um. It's actually longer than the paper book because the PDF I have is like 97 pages, and I know the paper book wasn't that long. But thank you very much. Um, any questions at all from the audience? From the chat? Curiosities other than Hanayama wanting to know exactly how sadistic he can get? Yes, Hanayama. It was a furble. It was a hairball. All right.
Wise man.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you to the chat. Thank you everyone for coming. Please like if you haven't already, share it around, subscribe if you haven't.
Hanayama, I tried to force Goat to play it a while ago, and that did not quite happen. So maybe it will, maybe it won't. It seems like
I
it's
thought
kind of not her style of game.
I
But I'm
thought the
definitely
only
going to run in the future.
I thought the only time you ran it was the time I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I wasn't there. It's
Well,
hard
I
for me
didn't
to
know that when you asked if I would run it.
Yeah, that was why I asked you to run this because I knew I wasn't
Yeah,
gonna be
like you
there.
you asked me, "Hey, I can't run. Can you run this?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then it turned out you weren't actually attending, which was a
Yeah, well,
surprise
I
to me at the
couldn't
time.
yeah, sorry. I couldn't run because I wasn't gonna be there, so, um, yes, thank you very much, and please share this around. I know that, there were other streams going at the same time as this one. This is not the usual later hour or Tuesdays that we usually do, so, hopefully it'll get a little reach in the rewatch, so, Kilo, anything you wanna push?
Myself to the kitchen to get a glass of orange juice.
Ah, well, good goals. I am doing a series of shorts, hopefully one a week if I manage to keep it up, called Goat's Notes for people who are into creation. It's just little tips that I have noticed in editing that people tend to struggle with that are kind of not as obvious as one might think they are. I mean, you read them and you go, oh, yeah, that's obvious. But if you don't read, if you're not on the editing side of it and you don't hear about it, it's not as obvious. So they're only about 2 minutes apiece. They've been a lot of fun to do. I've got a whole list of ones. So if you happen to be a creative or know a creative, I hope people will find them useful. Um, we are going to be starting the new Slice and Dice at the beginning of October. And I believe I am still on target for my 100th video on the 29th. Was that a Monday? I have to look at my calendar.
Sure is.
So I will do a very long stream on the 29th. I hope, Kilo, I hope you will be here at least for a little bit of it.
I will
Um,
be on an airplane for most of that day. Sorry.
that's too bad. I'm really hoping to be able to
Y'all should watch in chat.
thank everybody properly that has either been in chat or that I have streamed with. I'm hoping people will kind of bop in and out um, over the course of that day. So, um, in the meantime, I hope everyone has a great evening and happy headbutting.